Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Wherever you may be, welcome here. Kinsey, Shannon, thank you for being here. I want a little more of this. Last night, we camped in the backyard. Next week, no class. Class will not be. Forgive me, but we're scheduling a much needed family camp adventure. And last night we practiced by camping out in the backyard for the first time. 2-year-old daughter Anna camped. She went batshit. It was crazy. Like all of us sleeping next to each other and sleeping bags. She couldn't handle it. She just like got up, crawled over everyone, jumping off the sleeping pad. Like it was a trip. I think I woke up about 1973 times, but I feel great. I feel great to sleep on the floor. These kids are, man, they're so intense. And I'm going through the beautiful transition where it's not an idea anymore. I often see their intensity and I'm like, this is intensity. Well, of course it's going to manifest as chaos sometimes. Of course it's going to be really difficult. This is intensity. I want my son and daughter to know how to say no to the things that are wrong for them, even if it's coming through me. I want them to believe in themselves and refuse to trust our voice if it overwhelms them. Like, this is what I want for them. To maintain this in the face of the most difficult times it's really challenging, to be in the middle of chaos and things not going the way I want. These are the same lessons that I invite you towards with yourself and the divine, because you are truly a child to angels. Think of what that would feel like. The first and most important trust to embrace is that it's not all up to you. It's not all up to you. What that means is making a shift from a relationship to reality where it's like, maybe angels exist. Prove it to me. I want proof. And then when I get some more proof, I'll believe it. That's a belief structure right there, right? So then you've just created, you've made a house, your paradigm. And you've said, if that door opens in the right way at the right time and the right vision, the right, kind of person walks through the door, then I'll believe in angels. So you've already set the terms. That's not how it works. You can't negotiate that way and effectively open to the way reality works. There's more of a surrender going on here, where part of the transformation is to transform your entire relationship to reality. And sometimes this has to start first. You have to start loosening your grip on the way you believe things are, or you can't hear, see, sense, or receive the communication that's right here. Right here. So let's start with the basics. Angels exist. They don't fight. All the gods, all of them. Our memories of them come from cultures that often attempted to treat each one as the sole divinity. The way in which their stories competed was from a human perspective. During that era of history, this kind of thought process was allowed to exist because it was the best way the divine had to connect to humans where we were then. Consciousness had not evolved enough for people to have this kind of conversation. There was not a sort of multicultural constancy where people were exposed to many different ways of thinking and being and feeling. So the monotone, the very simple, regimented patterns of belief and even just thinking were difficult to reach. They were difficult to reach angelically. So when an angel presents themselves, they had to be God and they had to be everything, because the consumption of their realities was just complete. Now it's not quite as dramatic, though it might be. I really want to create space for those of you who get shattered by this. Really. Sometimes the intensity sweeps through. There's a street sweeper outside my door. Sometimes the intensity sweeps through. And it's just clearing away so much, and you can feel it. Like all sorts of layers of what you know of as yourself, the way you're woven with your expectations of what real is, gets swept away. And you don't get to negotiate when you're in that mix, like that truck driver is not going to change his pattern for me. It's not going to happen. And on an angelic level, just the act of making a real connection with a divine presence, you only have some degree of authority over how that's going to work. So let's be with that. You have some degree of authority over how that's going to work. Here's where it starts. And so I think we could get a lot of you. I don't know about percentages, but probably more than half with this kind of beginning. Something's already happened. Something divine has already happened. Now, I want you to prepare yourself, because this might be really deeply transformational. It's subtle and then gigantic if you allow this subtlety to center in your awareness. Something has already happened. You've had a dream. You've had some kind of synchronicity, like you were thinking of an angel and then someone mentioned them on the bus. Share. If you've got anything else going on, share. Write it in the comments, write it in the chat. What is a symbol that you've been holding as a maybe? Treat it as a yes. This is it. Now watch this subtle shift, okay? Let's say theoretically that it wasn't really Toth reaching out to you. Well, I'm just going to be with you, bro. You've been, was that Toth? Was it not Toth? Was that Toth? Was it not Toth? Treat it as if it was, and he'll hear you. You see, whether or not you know how to open to experiencing the idea that a divine presence, a divine being would reach to you on purpose. Maybe you doubt that too much. But trust this, if you throw up a flare and you say, I want to talk to you, they always hear you. Always. Doesn't take much. For me at this point, I want to force a decision on you people. Either you think I'm crazy or trust what I'm about to say. One or the other. Go your way. Blessings on you. But don't sit on the fence, because it's not good for you. It's annoying for me. It's not good for you. What I'm telling you is I'm able to communicate like this. I just say, hey, Toth, what's going on? I don't have to be loud. I don't have to be dramatic. I don't have to sing a song. I don't have to prostrate myself and go. I don't have to draw pictures of, giant ancient Egyptian figures. None of it. I say, hey, Toth, what's up? And he's here. He's here with me. This works. And if you listen to the channeling time, this works because angels and divine beings, I use angels for all of these beings. Okay. I don't say gods, because as I'm communicating to you, that was a particular relationship forged in the past. They don't understand themselves as gods. They are very comfortable with the sense that God exists. Like they have a relationship to God, the universe, the one verse, the divine centered presence of divinity, out of which everything else is related. They know themselves as part of this greater truth. They play the role of gods for beings who couldn't sense anything else and needed to hold on to their divine connection in this way. It was the best method to connect they had, but they don't know themselves as gods. Angels has worked fine. It is a little more complex than that. I don't want to be constantly offering many terms. So you can know Thoth as an angel. He accepts it. And here's part of the acceptance: angel angle. Angels talk to us through divine angles. And the classical angels, the Christian angels, were associated with rays of light. So Michael's the blue ray. What this is it's an angle. It's an angle of refraction of light. And it's like Michael saying, I'm going to hang out here. And what it intrinsically is actually saying we are part of a greater whole. We work in union with other divine beings, and you can talk to us by focusing this energy. So they're essentially saying it's like their calling card. Be present with this blue light, and you will connect to me. That's what you need to establish. You can use the classic connections, particularly for the ancient Judeo-Christian angels, Raphael, Samuel, Metatron, and Michael, and more, Gabriel. They'll be there present on their angle. So what this is it's very practical. They're doing this for us. They're trying to make themselves accessible with clarity, but you have to do the work to reach. So by saying blue, 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 Michael, 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 you're tuning yourself in to talk to him. And if you keep doing that, you train yourself to do that whenever you're in question. Over time, the connection gets forged from your investment. Your investment forges a connection, and it gets easier. And this ease is expressed in being able to say, hey, Michael, what's up? And Michael's right there. But when that connection is made, it's a very intense force. It's a very intense presence. And it makes other things less possible. You can no longer enjoy the same stuff anymore. It's less and less and less possible to think in some of the ways you've been used to thinking. And you can't negotiate that ahead of time. The surrender isn't in letting go of everything. It's in letting go of everything to find out you don't have to let go of everything, but you didn't know how to choose. So you have to let go of everything. And then once you do that, you find out what you get to keep and you go, oh, wow, I guess that's gone. Like, I just don't have fun watching sports anymore. I get bored. I watch them and I'm just like, blah, blah, blah. Oh man, that guy feels bad. He dropped the pass. Like, I don't want some people to lose. I can't go, yeah, they beat them. I want everybody to be happier. I love the intensity. I love the skill, but I don't like the sort of enforced inducement of suffering. That kind of competition plays a role for people who are coming from a more violent, more aggressive space. It scales down the desire to punch and channels it into something with rules. So it has a place. But as you start making divine direct connections with angels, you lose your ability to take joy in defeating other people. It's a big one. So there are some things you can anticipate. You can anticipate that you'll have to let go of different aspects of your life that have been normal to you up until now. And it is like a street sweeper coming through and just taking up everything that was in its way. When you surrender to a divine connection, you surrender as if you're letting go of everything, only to find that much is given back to you, but in a different form. Let me say hi. Trevor. Absolutely. So I want to be more talky with you guys because I have so much insight on these themes. I want to know what is most helpful to you. You have to find a way to tune. But the added level of this is I'm suggesting to you that there's some classical attunements, particularly the rays, right? The blue ray, Michael. You choose the color, it associates you with an angel, and then you have to keep doing it. Like if you just randomly kind of go all over the place, you're going to invoke connection, but it's like starting up. It's like, you know how an orchestra sounds when they're before they've started playing, like you can hear it's just like all over the place. And they're even tuning, like they're getting in tune. It's worse than that. You're invoking all these different frequencies. The commitment is what makes this transformational. So you're going to choose to tune into one frequency. In some ways, it doesn't matter which one. I mean, you can make less good choices and better choices, but you could commit to most of the major angels and divine beings you know of across the board from many different cultures. Shiva, Lakshmi, Buddha, Kuan Yin, Zoroaster, like Archangel Michael. By spreading yourself out, if you did it with all of them, you would have chaos in your mind. But if you make a commitment to any of them, over time, it will unveil your problems. And that's why people have trouble doing this. Because if you stay committed, the presence that gets invoked will make it impossible to avoid whatever issues you have. And whether it's blue light or yellow light or red light, doesn't matter. It's going to illuminate what's stuck in you. So you need to know yourself to the extent that you may be avoiding this presence through doubting whether this is real, through wondering whether that dream was actually a tangible connection. And again, the antidote is don't question the past. Trust your own inspiration. So if you have a dream in which a divine being says hi, work with that. And if it doesn't seem to continue, you need to put more work in. So you do. You make it louder. But understand, you're not making it louder so much to prove it to them as to commit within yourself. It's about you, not about them. They don't care that you somehow like, I am nothing, you are everything, I worship you. They don't really care that much. It's the clarity you create of commitment. When you're doing that, you're not watching Game of Thrones. You're not channeling your energy in different directions. You're focusing, and the commitment forges a connection that after a little while, it's present. Now you've got it. Now you have this connection to rely upon. You don't have to do this forever. And again, this can come in so many different forms. The subtle trust shift, this is very interesting, sweeps through you. It sweeps through you and takes away more. It takes away more. And you have expectations on what you wanted to do, and it takes away more. And often what you're finding is you start because you're miserable for some reason. And you're miserable and you want it to stop and you ask for help and you pray for help. And what's happening is they hear you right away, but they're probably trying to tell you things that you don't really know how to accept yet. Often, whatever is making you suffer is serving a role that you don't understand yet. And if you just got their help in saying, take my pain away, you wouldn't move through the transformation that is trying to occur. If you're saying, I'm in pain, doesn't matter why yet. You're just saying, I'm in pain, I want the pain to stop. Shedding a skin hurts. Pulling an old cord that helped you, understand yourself in a particular way 30 years ago, pulling that out hurts. It's good for you. If you stop the process because it hurts, you're not going to get at the transformation you need. So when you say, help me, help me, help me, and they don't do what you want, be even more humble and say, maybe there's a good fucking reason they're not doing what I want. You have to keep working. They're pulling you into a shifted attitude. And this shifted attitude is, look, many different divine beings function in different ways. They have different thresholds. Some of them are meaner. Some of them are gentler. Some of them have different priorities. They're going to be pulling you into, you're making a choice. But at a certain point, that choice is no longer a choice because you've gotten on their ride. And if you try to get off it, you're going to lose that investment that you made with them. So it's like any commitment. Like when you make a commitment to be married in monogamy, you're not free to sleep around. But if you sleep around, you're not free to have a monogamous commitment. It's like making a commitment it's a gift in and of itself. And you don't get this freedom, the freedom to live in the commitment to be drawn deeper into the divine unless you agree to stay. You know what I did for a long time? I mean, I'm a great teacher of this because I've made more of the mistakes than I hope you guys make ever. I've spent so long doing this, but I've been very sloppy under many cases. And part of that sloppiness was I was extremely excited that I could talk to so many different divine beings. And they do let me. They let me for the most part for years. And so I would just, what I started to find was as the intensity of my own issues came up, I had a tendency to flip, to start talking to a different divine being. And they would offer me a different perspective. And they would sometimes enable me to focus elsewhere. And maybe there was a health in it. It gave me a sense of power over my fear that I had so much baggage to deal with. But ultimately, they started saying, you're doing this with Toth. Go back, go back, go back. They started sending me back to him. And what that taught me was I had to recognize the way in which I was sabotaging my own ability to grow and become more divine because I was afraid. I was afraid of the consequences. And we address this again and again and again because these are the ways that folks often sabotage their own power. I know many of you get direct messages from divine beings. And the invitation here is respect it without going through a doubt cycle of was that real? Was that not real? Was that real? Was that not real? Was that real? Was that not real? Because the point is you make it real. So whether or not you know how to trust the initial connection, if you cherish it and act upon it and start drawing a picture, draw a picture of the angel, write a letter to the angel, spend an hour trying to talk to the angel and writing it into a song, do anything, literally anything that invests your attention in focus, building the feeling, building the sense of this is really exciting. This is where my energy wants to be. And it's more about what works for you. You don't need to be in a cycle of, I want to get the right prayer. If it works for you, great. But they change. They will meet you in a new place. If you say, I want to draw a picture and reach out to you that way, they will honor that and they will find a way to try to connect with you in that form. They allow that sense of power. Because the empowerment that comes with cherishing your ability to connect in this way it's really like it's almost like when you're at the edge of a cliff and you sort of sense of like openness and space in multiple dimensions and directions. It's like, whoa, you can start to recognize doubt as an anchor. Doubt isn't doubt. Doubt is serving a role of keeping you from having to sense how intense this is. Come on, you want this intensity. You've got to let that joyful, I want this, not a desperate, I want this, a joyful, like that's where you start to learn how to handle it. It really works. Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of humbling to know that it's just like building any relationship. One of the windows that opened me to this is through a teacher, Carolyn Meese, who who introduced it as your angel's always there. She just said your guardian angel. She said your guardian angel's always there. But what they're doing is they're saying, yeah, I hear you. And you say, help me. And your guardian angel's like, what? Excuse me? I really want your help. I think I heard something. Maybe not. They're not doing that to torture you. They're not doing that because they can't hear you. They're doing it because you can't hear you. You have to make the part of you that wants this louder. And you're not doing it indefinitely. You're doing it until you receive some kind of connection and response. And that's where I want to go with this next. There are so many ways that the response could occur. Now, you might not have thought about this, and I don't do well enough with this particular metaphor, but it's really healthy to go on a walk and keep your vision kind of up and open. So if you imagine we're living before computers, books, signs, roads, sidewalks, and we're moving through an open expanse where you might legitimately go in every direction. And you might want to see what's all around you. That a wild animal that's dangerous might be running at you from this direction or this direction, that there might be berries over here, that there might be signs of water over here. You see this way broadly. This is what you need to learn to do spiritually in your life. So you are concentrating energy through one form of communication, writing a poem, sitting and doing yoga for an hour. I'm giving you the things that work for me. You concentrate your attention and focus this way. Then you have a broad spiritual awareness for the reply. How's the reply going to come? You need to keep this breadth because part of the learning is in accepting a new channel of connection. So you need to trust that they have a better sense of what's good for you than you do in many cases, in most cases. So what's going to happen is you might want a vivid dream where it's like tangibly you see their mouth moving. That hasn't happened to me a lot. It's happened to me at certain critical transitions, but I don't ask for it normally because I get easier communication than that. I don't need it to be that dramatic anymore. When you trust the channels that are given, it's a breadcrumb trail. It says, now you trust this. Rest on it. And a form that happens for a lot of people, a couple things that happen that seem to be consistent from all the talking I do. People will start to hear songs, and you'll hear a song that draws your attention in a particular way. If you respect this form of connection, it'll start to be a language. So those songs will appear at regular intervals. There was a song from Les Mis. I liked Les Mis when I was young, and it would run through my head, and it would be like, you must use this honest present to become a better man. It was a time when he had stolen some silver, and the person he stole the silver from forgave him. So whenever I heard this song, I was confused for like months and months. I'm like, why is this song running through my head? And I learned to connect. I was hearing this song in order to recognize a dynamic that had happened. I had been given a divine gift and I started to use it in a different way. I'd been weak. I'd been tired. Then I got energy and then I started to misuse it. Rather than talk to me again and again, I was taught this lesson and then I just kept getting the song. And the song was saying, what were you given this energy for? What was this for? And I would realize that I was basically sad that I was leaving my own life. And every time I'd get a burst of energy, I was sort of like tempted to turn around and try to make an old idea work, an old form of entertainment work. And then I would hear the song and then I would turn around and I would go, okay, what was it for? And just hearing the song became a pivot to change direction and get in touch with why was I given this presence. Now, once I heard the song was occurring on a frequency. And so I could just focus there and I would receive more insight. For me, that became a sort of a knowing. It worked for me to recognize I used this broad spiritual vision. I heard the song, I refocused, I tuned in, and I got a knowing like that. It took a while. It took a couple years for it to get that good. But the gift of that was I started to be able to be immediate. So the relationship started to become closer. It's like it was a more trusting and present relationship. You need to want that. You need to want that. And at the same time, cherish the steps along the way. Here, I want to be a little vaguer because it's probably different for all of you. So please, like, give me questions or give me insights to work with here because I want to know how can we help each of you along your unique path. I know some of you are doing this. Like you're able to say, I got guidance yesterday in the sanctuary. People are sharing fairly regularly. Like I received the guidance yesterday that this and this and this. I received the teaching yesterday. Sometimes people say download. So you're in tune enough to get that. I want to know how to support people to get there, to get to the point where you can trust a divine intuitive guidance. And the breadcrumb trail can look different. I want to assert to you the pivot point is to bring your trust into the equation, which means you look backwards and say, what is it in my past that may have been a divine inspiration, may have been a divine spark? First of all, do you associate it with anyone? Now, look, I don't know why I haven't related to this more like just a generic guardian angel. I've actually frequently wanted to, but that hasn't been my path. Um, Toth has recently explained to me I've been sort of frustrated because in many ways my connection with him is um, not as personal as I would want. And every once in a while, I connect with another being. I talk all the time to different beings. And every once in a while, I connect with others, often new. Like, when you meet a new friend, there's like an exciting energy. This happens for me with different angelic beings. And they'll step in and it's like they know me. And they're starting to ask me questions about my past. And like they can see you in a spiritual way and they can look into densities and they just sort of poke at them in a way they teach us to do. Like I'm learning how to do this with you guys when I do readings. They're better at it than I am. This is how I'm learning. I'm learning from other beings. It's a pretty classic skill in their fields. So I'm connecting with a new being, and this happens every couple of weeks. And it's, in a very real way, it's more intimate than the connection I share with Thoth. And I went to him, I'm like, hey, what's up with that? and he was very present with me. And it was almost like uncomfortable. And he said, the reason I don't stay this close is because I'm giving you space to learn to feel and be yourself. If I stayed this close with you, because I talk with him pretty much every day, he taught me that if he stayed that close and present with me, I would lose my sense of self too completely. And incidentally, that's also why when I'm channeling, I'm not doing a trance channeling, like an Edgar Cayce, like where I completely forget everything. Some of the first ones worked that way. I had no idea what I'd said. And I find that more exciting in a real way. It's like the depth of that surrender is really cool, but it's not working that way as much anymore. What's typically happening is he's kind of starting to teach me stuff over the course of the week. And then when the channeling comes through, it comes through, but I'm pretty present. And a good 50, 70% of what I'm saying, he's been teaching me already. The reason it works that way, apparently, is because he's really protecting a sense of me. He wants me to learn to identify divine presence within me. And when I'm talking to him as an external being, there's this danger of disempowering me, of like, I give too much of my sense of divine insight to him, and he wants me to be able to tune in and sort of know it on my own. And the same when we turn around and talk about giving it to you. If you see it as coming through him, coming through me, that's like 2 steps away. Ultimately, we want to induce this divine awareness within each of us, the divine within us. And the channeling for this week that came through yesterday is really beautiful on this. So it's all been coming together for me as I come to terms with what is it? What is this communication? And one of the key trusts here is when you make a connection with an angel, don't think that's who they are. They're giving you a puppet. They're giving you something you can understand. And they're choosing something that relates to you where you are. Some people connect with Thoth for the first time and they see it in his head figure because that's what they expect to see. So he'll be there, he'll be that, but then he'll bend it into a different place, a different form of connection. Wherever you resolve, wherever you settle to connect with your angelic guides is a vibe or a set of vibes. That vibrational connection is a vibrational connection. It's not who they are. And ultimately, they choose how they talk to you based on what they're trying to draw you into becoming. They're trying to pull you into that. And ultimately, they are inviting you to embody a deeper divine presence within yourself. I experienced this as a trick for a while. Like I was being tricked into being what I thought was divine. I was giving it away and he was giving it back to me, and I was giving it away and he stopped talking to me. He stopped talking to me. And I was so pissed and uncomfortable and lonely. And he would come through much more rarely. And he's like, I want you to tell other people what I'm teaching you. I'm like, no, I don't want to deal with this shit. They're going to criticize me. They're going to tell me I'm being arrogant, to think that I can talk for Thoth. I don't want to do it. And he's like, fine, I won't talk to you. So then I started doing the channelings. And what I found was by embodying the presence that I experience as Thoth, he's teaching me how to be this deeper divine presence. And you know what he does? He recedes further into or he enhances further. It becomes a more vibrant and present being than he used to be for me. So we're given what we can handle. And the divine connection you can see as an angel is at the edge of what you can handle. If you engage it and keep engaging it and keep engaging it, it's going to change you like a street sweeper. It's going to sweep through you. It's going to become a more dominant part of your presence. Understand, this is itself an invitation for you to become more. Now, many teachers from the past, decades, like 80s and 70s, 80s and 90s, they would do this. They'd be like, put it this way, I'm not going to spontaneously tell you I am Thoth. It's never going to happen. There's a mental error that happens there because humans will connect with a divine being and then they'll tell other people about it. Some people do this and it's really exciting. And then they'll rename themselves and come out as the divine God essence or something. And they'll suddenly try to embody that grace in a way that's kind of confusing for everybody who trusts and respects them. And I don't know if you've paid attention, but this story has happened a bunch of times in the past 50 years in the United States alone. So it's sad in a way because their best connection happened earlier in their life and then they lose it. And what Thoth has been telling me is they lose it because they don't let the connection change them. They try to be what they saw as God. They try to be it. And they're supposed to, but in the process, they're supposed to broaden their divine awareness to allow Thoth to be even more present in another way, to allow any angel that you commit to be even more present. And as you allow that, your entire reality broadens. So there's no way to witness this connection without it changing you. I think that's why the street sweepers kept sweeping through over and over again. Yeah, Tom, such a big deal. And something that I've wanted, I have a more present experience that Thoth invites me into what's more of they only term it a mystery school, a fire mystery school, where there are many other beings present. And so sometimes I'll be like, wait a second, I thought I was talking to Thoth. And I lose my focus and rootedness as I start to recognize the voice pitch is changing subtly. I hear very small modulations. I do have different shades, but they're within a tight range. And this keeps me sane and present in a real way. Like I just wasn't able to handle more when I was younger. I would be presented with really vibrant, intense connections. It would just blow me away and I would lose all my ability to be present. So they taught me to do this really tight connection. But then I'll be talking to Thoth and all of a sudden I realize I'm talking to it's not Thoth anymore. And I felt for a long time, I felt kind of betrayed. I'm like, damn it, I thought I was talking to you. And he's like, chill. Like I'm teaching you to be present with the experience of being surrounded by other people. When you just talk to one angel, it can keep you kind of stuck. What they do is they invite you into a space where you're surrounded. If you keep doing it, you end up feeling surrounded. Now, I don't want you to rush to get there. Like you don't want to get there prematurely. Like I say, it kind of fries you and it overwhelms you and it makes it impossible to be present in life. You need to trust that they understand the limits better than you. It matters. And it's okay to think of it as them. What they do over time is teach you to recognize it's how to do it yourself, how to say, I'm overwhelmed. And when I get to the point where, like I've gotten to the point where I will say, okay, I think I'm done now. And Phil smiles at me and he's like, good for you. Good for you. um, he like the way he relates to me has different lessons in it. For a while, he would cut it off. Then he makes me cut it off when I realize, not cut it off, but chill it out and just like reground, get some food, go on a walk, because it can take me so far into my body. It's really exciting. And you have to learn to navigate these extraordinary challenges that I find that anticipating them helps. Anticipating them helps as long as you can be happy where you are. I both want to show you how the paths develop while encouraging you to cherish where you are and to really be present with. You could go through years of having single messages drop in and just cherishing that message for weeks. Like that might be ideal. And if it is, I would want you to cherish it and celebrate it as the biggest, most exciting thing. To be present exactly with what you're ready to handle is so beautiful. It's your edge. Everybody's got an edge. And to know how a map goes, like to have a sense of the road ahead, can help you prepare in the ways that are helpful to prepare. But then ultimately, you don't want to walk off the road, where you are. You don't want to stay so focused on the future that you miss the path where you are. So again, now in comments, in the community, in the sanctuary, share where you're at a lot. Share where you're at in a way that gets reflection from others, because we can help you by offering what does and doesn't work, and even just offering a celebration. It's likely, I can't tell you how many times in the recent weeks people have shared in the readings. So in the sanctuary, we do a meditation. And after we do the meditation, people will share what they experienced. And I get an awful lot of people going, oh, I didn't really get anything. And then as it turns out, we asked some questions and totally got something, got a very cherished, sacred insight. And that's all that's needed. You don't need as much as you might think. And the way to get more, if you're really focused on wanting more, like a daily present connection to an angelic divine presence, the way to do it is to really celebrate whatever it is you are getting. Hello, Erica. Good to see you. Hey, Misty. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear that's how it works with you. And that would be the next step. Okay. I'm both encouraging you to commit, and I'm encouraging you to trust that over time you get to make more than one commitment. So, like I say, I have a very distinct 6 angels, very distinct 6 angels that have made huge, profound impact on my life, and another 5 or so that have been very strong but intermittent. I mean, talking in some cases, I didn't talk to Saint Germain or Babaji for years, and then they come back and they're very real. Babaji just recently showed up, and he helped me reconcile. He is helping me reconcile a relationship I had with someone from my past, who he invites me to realize I had another lifetime in India with this person. And that's part of why he's here, to help me navigate it. It's dauntingly special. And he showed up and he said, do something. And I didn't want to do it. Like, I didn't want to contact this person, and I avoided it for a couple of weeks. And then I like went back to him, like, you really want me to do that? And he's like, yes, I really want you to do that. And I did it, and it's huge. And so he's sticking with me. And that's how it seems to work, is that it's not necessarily one angel guides through everything, because you start to unveil connections in past lifetimes that it's more appropriate to work with. In that lifetime, I had a connection to Babaji then. So it's more appropriate for him to help me now. You get that. And you get to unveil it. For the most part, it's fine for you to think in terms of it's a menu of divine angels all over the earth. Like, do it. But most likely, they're kind of teasing you a little because you already have these connections from previous incarnations and you're going to be rediscovering them. I have a strong relationship with Bridget, the fire goddess of Ireland. And she was with me in a lifetime that I had in Ireland. And in this lifetime, I had issues. She was dramatically centrally present for me exactly when I face those issues. And whenever the same themes come up again, she returns. So the gift of this is it's really exciting to be able to shift, but you have to do so intentionally. And it works when you make investment. Like these are relationships that I've built over the course of decades. I have a deep trust in Michael because at my point of deepest, greatest terror, he showed up. He taught me to recognize that he showed up during that terror because I had invested my trust in him in previous lifetimes. And thus, when I faced this fight, divine fight, he was there for me. And he was there for me because I'd made the investment, because I'd cultivated it. And he cut through and boom, there he is. So now when I relate to him, I'm relating from the history of the connection that I have with him I reconnected with him when I was 27. I'm 49. Before then, I didn't think about him at all, and then boom, he cut through to my consciousness. Building this depth is fun. Each moment is like an incredible, chapter in a story. To allow space for that in you is to navigate between wanting more and cherishing what you got. You got to find that balance, wanting more and cherishing what you've got. And the ability to do so, I circle it all back to yoga. I have a profound relationship with Shiva. It is very present. It's like every day I do yoga. And when I don't, I feel like shit. And when I do, I feel really good. I'm almost 50 and I've got 2 little kids and I'm pulling this off because I could run after my son when he learns to bike. I stay strong and pretty healthy. So first level, great gift of yoga. But the next level is something that you could apply to other disciplines, but yoga is just so good for. And it's navigating this balance between what comes naturally, and I even say easily, natural ease, and your edge. And if you think of these as 2 different sort of points and you want to aim in between them. So you first aim for what's natural. So when I'm talking about a pose, I'm going to lift my arms up. Boom. I stop right here. Why? Because the right here clenched a little. I could go here, but it's different. When I go to here, that's easy. If I go further, it's not, yes, I can do it. All of you could do it, but it's not easy in the same way. I'm inviting you to realize there's value in learning to see what is easy. Now I shift gears. How do I shift gears? I center myself. I feel that tension in my shoulders. I reach down into my gut. I breathe. I lean back, which relieves the tension there. And come together. And exhale. So by valuing what's easy, I tune in to how to go deeper towards my edge. I still want to do ridiculous, difficult things. At one point, I could do push-ups. I'm going to try, all right? I could do push-ups on my fingertips, right? This scorpion push-ups just on my fingertips. I'm going to try in just a minute, just for the fun of it. I want to get back into that. And I want it to feel easy. The guy I saw do it, he's like, woo, woo, he just made it look really easy. And I could do it like 3 times or something. Even when I was able to do it, I could only do it 3 times. I still want that. But I'm navigating between easy. First, I get the feel of ease. Then I pushed into the difficult challenge. This is direct training for how to do other psychic spiritual connection. You aim for what's easily there. You don't let yourself presume it's supposed to be difficult. You aim for what's easy. I say, hey, Thoth, I don't understand how to navigate this. He says, yes, you do. like that's what he said. So like that ease, you have to want ease to get it sometimes. If you believe it's supposed to be difficult, you're only going to be looking at difficult channels with difficult stress, with difficult engagement. Maybe they'll meet you there because that's where you are, but believe me, it doesn't have to be that way. And part of you has to want it to be easy. So I want these push-ups to be easy. I'm going to give it a little try just for the joy of it. See, that was all I could do. I won't say it's easy, but it's like it's easy. It's fun, it's still fun. That was all I could do fun. I could strain and get a little more, but I'm happy. I want to do that again because I just had fun when I got up and I sort of did two slappy little ones. This is what you want is this unity between desire to go deeper and a commitment to stay. First, you think of easy, and then you let fun carry you. Like striving can be fun, which almost ends up feeling easy. It's like you're bringing these forces together, but it only works if you keep this sense of like, guys, this is supposed to be joyful. You're supposed to cherish the joy. This is not supposed to be so serious that you get lost in a sense of failure and regret and torture or anything like that. Keep the commitment to enjoy it. Xander, so good to have you here. I love your presence, man. Good rising to you too. Do I know you as a human being? Are you, I know some people I know in my life have different handles and never tell me because I've met a lot of people and I can feel it. Are you someone I've known? Are you someone I've known? You're obviously not going to tell me unless you want to, but I love the joy of this. And the liberation of knowing that it's my job to help you liberate yourself. That I get to play this role, which is like it's a spiritual guide. I want a spirit guide. My guide say this. Well, I'm a living spirit guide. Bless you, Xander. I feel a familiarity with you that is, it's pops in out of from different spaces. It really matters to me. Thank you for being here. The gratitude, Tom, that I feel to play a role to help guide you into your recognition within yourself of these forces is just awesome. So I get to be who I most love to be. I love the sense that I'm helping people crack open your boundaries, your vision of what's possible, your present awareness of what matters, your prayers, your dreams, help you reorient your dreams on the best, expanding the range of what you know is real. I don't want to disempower you in the process. So this incredible gift that I got because I wanted it so much this way was a system that helps people tune into yourselves, a system that helps you tune into yourself and recognize how your own spirit is present inside. Because ultimately, one of the real, and Toth in particular has been very focused on this lesson. So we're going to complete with it. Then we're going to shift over to the sanctuary. And for everyone who is here, who isn't a member in the community, please consider it. You are so welcome. You're so welcome. Community tab on the website. Yes, there is a membership fee, and it's pretty reasonable. In fact, it's very low at the moment, and it'll go up quite a bit over time. You get to keep your introductory rate. One of the real points of focus that I'm coming to embrace more and more is that part of the way we connect angelically, typically people will come from a space where you don't necessarily know that you're making a choice in how you make a choice. So you have an idea based in books, based in the Bible, based in something, someone who you talked to once about what it would be to have a spiritual experience. If someone tells you they're enlightened, you get an idea of what enlightenment is. Now, they might have given you words that describe it, but it's your understanding of their words that you retain. But you might not recognize that. So, part of the concern, and Toth is very focused on this concern, is that people externalize our spiritual power in how we view others. So, he has trained me relentlessly to normalize this stuff. These are really extreme themes. Every once in a while, I do still get pissed, like perusing around YouTube, being like, nobody is talking like this that I find. Like, the I get frustrated to watch extraordinarily broad voices, voices that reach a lot of people, and they're just like, they're not going close to this deep. And when I get frustrated and remember to go to Toth with it, he reminds me. He wants me to help normalize these extremes. It's the being normal in it that actually enables you to be in it. This layer, this field, this boundary that you are invited beyond is all about being so comfortable in the depths that you go beyond the epiphany, and the epiphany becomes just like the spark that lit the fire. The normal fire is much bigger than the epiphanies. I look back on my epiphanies, and that was like a first sip of wine. The intensity becomes like blood flowing through you. And once it's like blood, I'm not like constantly evoking angelic orchestras wherever I go. I'm just like, hey, what's up? And that's what he wants for us. He has relentlessly refused to let me overdo it, relentlessly refused to let me go like, oh my God. It's like, dude, chill. Remember, keep it here, because ultimately we want to remember. Remember that you are divine. Remember that you're divine. Don't take what you know of as divine and see it in him. Don't take what you know of as divine and see it in me. I mean, do, but recognize that in the process of doing that, we're trying to spark you. He sparks me to know it here. Mary Magdalene did a lot of this work with me. She started talking to me from within my heart. And she's like, for a long time, she'd talk to me. And then she stopped talking to me. And I'm like, why'd you stop talking to me? And she's like, I'm right here. I'm like, yeah, but, and I'm like, oh, I was trying to talk to her in this externalization. I was trying to say, hi, Mary, like she's there. And she's like, as long as my focus was in this geometric, it's geometric. You have to look at how your psychic awareness is operating, how your mind is functioning, that you are trying to set up a conversation between you and someone there. And now she stopped talking until I put my focus here. And then she's like, okay, here I am. I told you I'd talk to you as long as you're focused on your heart. It's really beautiful, really important. And the channeling this week focuses on it. So I'm excited to invite you into it. Thank you guys. This is fun. It's a great joy to share this with you. I really want you to tell your stories. So in the comments, in the sanctuary, please share. Like, where are you at? How can we help you cherish where you are? It's the only way is to cherish where you are. If you don't cherish what you're already receiving, your desire for more, your extremely healthy desire for more can't be met, because you do have to begin with the gratitude that is awareness itself. Angels are right here. They're trying to talk to you. They've been trying to talk to you. They will adjust with you. If you decide you want to make a painting, they will respond to you in a form that connects to the painting you made for them. If you decide that you want to sing the same chant for half an hour over and over, Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Om. If you sing that for half an hour, many devotees of Shiva do, Shiva will be much more present. You can use the channels that other people have forged, or you can forge your own channels, but forge them, because the connection you make is an investment. It's a commitment, and that commitment pays off. If you don't know how to see or recognize it yet, let us help you. Talk to us. We have many different people here who are more comfortable in divine connection, in angelic guidance, in spiritual presence. And we all have different ways, and maybe one will be more relatable to you than another. So please comment if you feel comfortable. Please join the community if you feel ready. And may love be with you and your families. I will see you in the sanctuary quite soon after a couple minutes break. Much love.